the company is a very disruptive company. They're years ahead of anyone else. Say, well, Uber or Lyft,
Right.
and there's not that rideshare public company yet. Then what do you compare it to?
That's a great question. You have to build a peer. Internet of Things was something that came out, and same with these rideshare programs were something that came out as well, where there really wasn't Internet of Things yet. Now there is some publicly traded IoT companies, but you have to build peers that build a component of that business model. For example, Internet of Things requires software. It's also hardware dependent. It's system based. It's a CRM. It's cloud based. And so you can grab companies that are in cloud. You can grab companies that are in SaaS, in CRM, in hardware, and you build kind of a list of companies that might hit all of the aspects of your model, and that builds yourself a peer group that way. So these ride shares would probably be using some older limousine companies, taxis, but maybe using some software companies. People who connect people together. So you'll have to use some software providers or some social media because there is some social context to that. So you'd have to just build and be creative with building your peer through other similar businesses because you just don't have the comparisons yet.
So when building these peers, how much of it would you say is a science? How much of it would you say is an art?
Equal amount. There's no two companies alike. So doing any sort of market comparisons is always a challenge. You're just not going to find businesses the same. So you always have to stretch a little bit. And sometimes we use, it's statistical in nature. So there's a concept of a law of large numbers, which means you want more deals that are sort of similar than one or two that are perfect. And so you just have to be willing to accept the fact that you're not going to have the perfect company. Most of the smaller startups aren't going to be competing with huge public companies anyway, right off the bat, but you have to be willing to accept that these might not be truly comparable, nor are these might not necessarily be considered my competitors in order to accept kind of that peer multiple.
Now, are there certain areas